And I should also mention too, in terms of the seal of the confession, whatever is said there, again, on penalty of excommunication, we're not to repeat, not that we remember anyway, but we're not to repeat anything that occurred in terms of the confessional. And in those cases, it's kind of, I think there were parts of like Ireland that were, given the sex abuse that's going on, that if that's revealed in the confessional, they're supposed to report, but that you have to protect the seal. So it may lead to the case of folks having to go to jail because they couldn't reveal this particular sin. In that counsel, yeah, I would say like to certainly get help for someone. It wouldn't be like, I got angry at my brother, so I realized the degree of it. I wouldn't be flippant with it. Would suggest that person to get help or to self-report. And if you could go to me in a resource, but I also have to instruct him or her that I would have to then also report that to the police. Because if the person approached me outside the sacrament regarding the same issue, then it would be permissible to report that.
So if I come up to you and tell you that I'm going to go home and kill my roommate after Mass, you can tell the police.
No, I can't.
But if I tell you during confession, you can't.
Right. Yeah, that has blocked. And you got to be. There are prudent ways of doing this too. Like Father Bob doesn't, or I hear confessions of anyone of our staff where it's like, well, I've been cutting money, for a finance person, Julie Pilot, hypothetically. Well, I've been skimming money off the top when we're counting money on the money. She's actually not Catholic though, so she's Protestant. But let's say she was Catholic, confess that. And okay, awesome. not awesome. Yeah, it's like, what do you do? So just so that would never be the occurrence unless it was like near death and the person could have any. Actually, the person dies as well. You can't betray that. You can't betray their soul either. What's said. There's a famous case in terms of a priest in New York and someone who's kind of a gangbanger. It's an oddest case. He seemed like a sweet kid, but got involved in stuff. Went to jail. I actually came to him in counseling. Not the occasion of the sacrament, but they believe he had committed a murder and he himself died in prison. So the only person they could go to was the priest. And they're like, do you remember this kid? Yeah. Do you remember whether it was in the context of reconciliation was just something outside and he wasn't even Catholic, just needed to get something off his chest. The priest had determined, we heard a ton of confessions, but determined, no, this was outside the confessional. But even though the kid had died, you can't reveal either. You can't betray the soul of the person, even if the person dies. So it's sealed both in this world as well as the next.
How do you deal with it personally for years? I mean, like you said, you don't try to remember and hold.
Right, and I think that's.
I mean, I know it's part of what you were willing to do,
right.
Becoming a priest, but wow, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize it at first. I never really thought of studying psychology, but I thought I guess I'm tough-skinned enough, not easily scandalized by the sinner myself, and others are as well. And yeah, I think being trained to forget things helps. And then when they taught us reconciliation class, that's what it is. It's reconciliation. It's not like let's be curious about other people's sins. It's like, no, I remember people as forgiven in the face of Christ. And that's kind of what helps. Yeah, you do have a couple tough ones here and there. The only time I try not to, sometimes it doesn't work because one of us is out of town, but our confessions precede the vigil mass. There's a wisdom in terms of whoever has the vigil mass has the three, doesn't have confessions beforehand, has the three masses, or the two masses of Holy Rosary and OPH. The one who does has confessions, they don't have another thing to do until the three masses. So try not to hear maybe right before like having celebrating mass. You find it all the times in like college dorms, or especially in Notre Dame. Not that I've been a rector or a priest, but they say that happens like all the time. You know, they have Sunday night masses at like 10 p.m. and it's after a wild weekend. And someone will approach you like right before mass, and you just have to say, just say an act of contrition. I'll hear it after mass, because sometimes that can be like, oh, that was bad. And try to block that out and like try to keep your homily that hopefully one is internalized or memorized. So that's about the only time it might get distracting. And you hope, like, because you know I'm at St. Mary's, and it's like when you go to confession, then they kind of like shy away. It's like, I don't remember these things,
Yeah.
but somehow they know what they said, and so that's what they think. Like that's all I think of them in terms of like that's the like no, it's nobody is forgiven, killed in Christ, and that's cool. Yeah, it's a wonderful sacrament. It's, as you can see, a little more beaming than I cloud through all the so. That's about all I had, unless there were more questions. Again, this used to go kind of almost the 2 full hours, and we took a break. We won't need to do that. We kind of plowed through the material. I used to show like a clip from $1 Million Baby. I guess it's an entertaining enough movie. It didn't kind of engender the discussion that I was hoping to have in past years. Try to show them a clip from Man for All Seasons in terms of infallibility and speaking on morals. And again, they're all entertaining, but it's not to entertain you, to provoke discussion. That really didn't really provoke discussion in the past. I kind of sliced that, and that's why I'm moving through the material without a break and finishing it. Thank you. And then next week is Monica on reconciliation.